crisscross, pulling floss, needle thread from black to red, pink, navy green, and in between, snug as my brain. I'm Stitch Me Sane.
Hi Flosstube! Welcome to my channel Stitch Me Sane. My name's Carla and today is Saturday the 6th of April. I'm in Melbourne, Australia, and this is Flosstube number 19. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok. Welcome to any of you who are new here. I've had a few new subscribers of late, so thank you for joining me. Welcome to my returning subscribers. This is a channel where I talk about my love of cross stitch. I generally have pieces that sort of suit most people's taste. I do love colour and I love full coverage, but today I also have some samplers and some paper charts and some kits and other bits and pieces to show you. So it's only been 2 weeks. This is a bit out of character for me of late. So I'm trying to get back into a bit more of a regular routine. My girls are with their dad today and thinking Dylan and I might go out for a bit of dinner later. The weather is not great here in Melbourne. Winter is coming now. I can feel it. You can tell by what I'm wearing. If you're returning, you might notice that I've also had a haircut. I went for a bit of a change recently and I'm really enjoying it. I have pretty curly hair and I kind of just let it do its thing now, which is fun. And I don't really have a lot of time to dedicate to hair, so that kind of works for me well. All right, the stitching. So I'm going to try and keep this under an hour today. So stick with me, grab some stitching, kick back. I've got a lot to show you. I'm going to show you the first mock-up, and we have a sampler, which I actually showed you in my last video. This is by 2x2 Stitch Art. I really love this. So I'm working down here. No, I'm not. Yes, I'm working down here. So started in this corner and I've just nearly come up to the railing there on the road. I'm pretty excited to come up to that actually, and I'll show you why. I actually went with a navy fabric for this. So it's got a really different look to, I guess, how the mock-up does. And I selected only 2 threads. So I went with a variegated DMC. I'll actually show you the threads that I selected. So this one and just a 712. So we've just got these, and then on the navy fabric, ooh, they are popping and I'm really loving it. It's a 25 count Lugana, stitching at 1/1, and that is where I am at. So you can see I've worked on a bit of the border, and then I think I've worked on this plant here. So you can see how I'm playing with the variegated threads. You can do so much with them. So I'm kind of going up, down, up, down, up, down with this instead of like rows. And then I think when I come to the fence, I'm actually going to do it in rows to give it like a wood grain sort of feel to it and give it some texture. So I think I'm really just going to aim for texture on this piece and give it a real sort of different vibe. It's not an overly big piece. It's about 35,000. That's sort of the size of the fabric there, and I'm actually at 7.84%, but I only put in 133 stitches, so not a lot of progress, but I'm really enjoying it. And it's just different to sort of the other samplers that I stitch. I've got 2 long dogs on the go. This is completely different to that style of sampler. So that's the first piece for today. Okay, I'm gonna have to make a pretty cool pile going over here. All right, what have we got next? So this is Colorful Sampler is what I'm calling it, but I don't think that's actually the correct title. Sorry, we'll pull this one up. Sorry, just bear with me. This is the mock-up. Now on her website, and I'm going to have to maybe link, I can never recall the Etsy store that this chart comes from. on her Instagram page, she also shows it with a black fabric. And I think I've seen somebody wanting to start it on the black. I'm stitching this with Catty Sue Cats over on Instagram, and we've both gone a purple fabric. It's massive, by the way. It's 121,000 stitches or something. I am stitching it on the most divine hand-dyed fabric by Kaylee from the sewing shop. You can find her on Instagram and here on Flosstube as well. She actually just dropped a Flosstube a few days ago. I'm halfway through, Kaylee, and wow, your Adrian border pieces from UXS 28 are looking incredible. Anyway, I digress. So this fabric has been dyed by Kaylee, and I'm actually really enjoying this. I did put in 253 stitches and I'm at 1.66%, and that is where I am at. Oh, the light today is really showing this fabric nicely. When I showed it last video, it wasn't coming up as true to the real color as it is today. So you can see just how gorgeous those stitches are in all the wild colors. I'm using the called for, but it just gives it a real different appearance to the white background that we saw in the mock-up. Look at that. So I'm really enjoying that. I'm not going to lie, I've had to frog a lot of this, but it's getting easier now that I've sort of got a little bit more structure and a bit more foundation, something to work from. I never grid my fabric, and I kind of, the way I work with all my pieces is I start and I kind of get a bit of a foundation and then I dart off so I can stitch wherever I want. So we're not far from being able to just move around and stitch wherever I want. It's big, 25 count. I'm doing 1/1, but I think it is going to look incredible when it's finished. This is when I sort of just like kind of pop in 100 stitches here or there. I don't really sort of work on it for heavy periods of time, but I find it really fun to just maybe finish off one of those little motifs each stitching session, and I'm finding this sort of sitting around 100, 150 stitches, which is really, really good for me because I don't have moments when I stitch where I can just sort of sit for a solid period of hours. I sort of have, 20 minutes here, 10 minutes there, and progress is progress. Every stitch counts. That's my motto. So that's Colourful Sampler. Next we have, this one I have been really enjoying working on. I could have put in a lot more and I should have. It is my very, very first ink circles piece called Pentatonic. I put in 190 stitches. This is what it looks like. So it is stunning. It's actually only got 13 colors, I think. So 4 sets of the colors. We've got the blues, the purples, the oranges, and the greens. That's right. And there's 3 within each that give it that real sort of dimension. Look at the dimension to this piece. Sort of a bit of a tapestry feel. I am stitching it on a 20 count white Ada. And where am I at? I am 4.94%. It's, I think, 35,000 stitches all up, this piece. Stitching it 2/1. And this is where I am at. Oh yeah, it's this way up. Yeah, look at that. That is so great. Oh, so I think this one I'm going to, now that I've said I like to stitch wherever, but because this one is asymmetrical and essentially you stitch it 4 times over, I think I'm going to just keep working out from the center and filling it in like a little coloring book. I did consider doing the black outline on this first, but I think it's just too intricate and I'm a little bit worried about putting a stitch out, which is just going to throw the whole piece. So I'm just going to keep working from the center. Would you look at how delicious and lush that looks? I love 20 count 2/1. It's just the bomb for me. I've got a lot of 18 count, but I think the coverage on 20 count, if it's not too confetti heavy and more sort of like this style of piece, for me the coverage works. I really need to fill that little bit in there because it's just not working, is it? So that's one I just work on again, like the sampler. 50 stitches here, 50 stitches there, a couple of little fill-ins. So much fun. Okay, the next one I'm going to show you is a biggie. It's called Sanctus. It's by Electric City Stitches. And it's like a big, abstract, delicious, look at that. So I started down here with all the 939. I think there's like 45,939 stitches, which is the navy blue in DMC. I'm trying to work across the bottom, so I'm currently about halfway, which I'm actually pretty pleased with. And I'm chipping away at this one. I'm at 6.30%, which is pretty cool because it's a big piece. It's 201,000 stitches, the final stitch count. And I'm again on a 20 count AIDA. So this makes the piece pretty big though. I've got this one ready to go. This is where I'm at. I took a bit of a different approach with this because I got sick of stitching the 939, which is the solid down here. So I sort of blocked it off in 10 by 10 squares and did my own gridding, and then shot off to where I wanted with some colour, and then I just come back and fill in those squares if I've got a minute. But it's coming along. This designer has actually got some really wonderful abstract artwork. If it's something that takes your fancy, I'd be checking her out, Julia. So that's my big piece Sanctus. Let me give you some perspective on the size of this baby. Oh yeah, she big and beautiful. Heaps of colors too, over 100 I'm pretty sure. You know, in a color range that's a little bit different to how I usually stitch. There's no purples, there's limited pinks, but I'm really enjoying the sort of browns, golds, greens, blues. That one's a bit of an older piece too now. Goodness, I think I've been working on this one maybe coming up 3 years. That needs to get moving. I think I'm only like 15,000 stitches in. All right, the next one is a current personal favourite of mine. It's Heaven and Earth Designs, and I think I'll show you a couple of Heaven and Earth designs today, but this is the big pick. That is just so cool. Look at all the different little bits and pieces in this chart. The most confetti heavy chart I own, too, I might add, and I am starting up here in the top center, working my way out. I want to get the complete top border done so that I can just work down onto whatever piece sort of like bit that I want. Like, I'm really looking forward to the snout. I'm really looking forward to like the tie and coming in here and doing the pencil and the handwriting. Oh, so much fun. But look, this has got an overall stitch count of 282,000, so it's not going to happen anytime soon. It's 2.89% complete, but I did put in 511 stitches, which is pretty cool. I'm stitching it on a 28 count. Sorry, I've got all my pieces in a pile. There it is, 28 count linen 1/1 with all my thread cards. The colors of this one actually I find really quite pleasing. I've said this in the past, but that's how I roll with my full coverage. I have a master set of DMC. I use some cereal boxes to make my own thread cards, and then I write my piece and I'm good to go. So let me show you the big pig. It's a bit of a personal, not personal, I've already said that. It's a bit of a crowd pleaser too on Instagram, I've noticed. It's quite popular when I post this one. Let me try and get it so it's not so big to show you. That's where I'm at. So you can see all the confetti. I'll actually bring it in and show you the extreme detail. But you can see the bookshelves coming in, which is pretty nice. And of course, as you pull it back, gee, it's looking great. Yeah, that's looking really good. I'm very pleased with this so far. And I'm really enjoying working on it. I actually really quite enjoy confetti. It's big. I do have some smaller pieces coming up though. They're not all monsters. Okay, where are we at? I am doing good for time, folks. Good for time. Alright, so that's the big pig. Next we have Enter the Void. Now this is one of my focus pieces. You have all seen her before if this is not your first time stopping by. It is an unconventional cross-stitch piece. Who is an Australian designer, Jodie. I love her work. I've got 3 of hers, and this is Enter the Void 2. That hat is no joke, and I can't even show you where I was working because I work all over the place on this one. I've got a bit of everything going on. But this is a focus piece for a non-HAED this decade, which is a sale that Nancy and I are doing, where you pick a big coverage, a big full coverage piece. We're going with anything over 150,000. Focus on it and try and have it done by 30th, you know, by New Year's Eve 2029. So I'm pretty sure this is going to be my selection for that sale. I haven't completely locked it in yet. I've got a couple of other choices. I'm just trying to keep my tablet here up to date so we don't have to spend so much time with me searching. And here is Enter the Void again, thread cards. So 25 count, 1/1 this one. And this is where we are at. Oh, she looks good. So you can see her face, some hat. And actually what I have been working on is, so we've kind of pulled in her chin, and if you follow the line down, down, this is the start here of those necklaces, I think. So, and then, yes, I finally hit the bottom border, which are these little stitches down here. So I now have the top border coming in and the bottom border coming in for this Adrian border artwork. Wow, Adrian border, unconventional cross stitch, charts a lot of their work, and there are some good ones. I already mentioned Kaylee's stitching on a couple as well. There's a couple of hashtags going on. Not border this cell is for this one. So there you have it. That's Enter the Void 2, and she is gorgeous. She's so pretty. It doesn't often do her justice in the light. I find this one really quite difficult to photograph, but she's kind of a bit more vibrant in real life. And I think as I work in some of the brighter colors a little bit more heavily around, you know, the hat and getting a bit more definition, that will stand out a little bit more. But I'm actually really pleased because I'm at 15.65%. I still need to up my stitch count though, if I want to have it as a non-HAED this decade. But every stitch counts. I only put in 202 stitches though, so, you know, better get a reel on. Next one is, this is Woman in a Field, Sal by Stitches So Beautiful. There's actually a lot of people stitching this one, and I think I'm the furthest behind in the sale. But look at that, it is gorgeous. And I started up here in the top center, and I'm coming down and doing her hair at the moment. There's a lot of colors. It's beautiful. And yeah, there's a hashtag Woman in a Field Sale over on Instagram, and some people have some serious progress going on. Me not so much. I'm only at 1.49%. I'm stitching it on 25 count, 1/1. And oh, and I have my new favorite needle minder. I actually got a pass. I got two stitchy packages yesterday, and I wasn't expecting some of the things that were in each of the package, which is I find to be always such a bonus. So let's go with the needle minder then right now while I'm talking about it. So Dylan replenished my 20 count white Ada stock, which I got a nice big piece of from JK's. Thank you, Dylan. And in it I got a couple of needle minders, being this one being one of them. Let's try and, oh, isn't she pretty? I love it. Her brain's exploding from all the crafty goodness. Thanks. Thank you. I love it. Anyway, she was on the piece that I was working on last night. Oh, now I've got a needle in me. That's not good. That she was, yeah, so I was working on a woman in a field last night. And so I had my new favourite needle minder on her. Here we go. This is where I'm at. As you can see, not a whole load. It's not huge though. I think this is only 140,000. But you can see that I am working on her hair there. And I only put in 100 stitches, but every stitch counts. And Nancy's also stitching this one. I think Catherine from Needleberry Stitcher is. There's heaps of you, and yours are all looking amazing. So maybe this is one that I might keep out and keep working on. It's got a lot of colours too. I can always tell if I've gone into my 4th thread card. We're talking some serious colours. Most of the standard HAEDs only need 3 of these. So if we're on the 4th, that's more than the usual sort of 80 to 90 colours. We're probably into the 100. So that's Woman in a Field. Oh, it's also a little bit of my stitchy goodness that I had to show you. I'll just pop that there. Don't want to lose that needle minder already. Okay, what have we got next? This is another one that you'll all be familiar with. Unicorn, my travel piece, and I am pleased to say I am now at 70%. And this is what it's going to look like. It's Carolyn Manning Designs. Actually, this is my first Carolyn Manning that I've had to show you today, which is unusual for me. I think, well, you'll see, I've got a lot. I'm stitching this as 4 separate pieces, one for each of me and my 3 girls. I still haven't finalized who's getting what yet, but I'm pretty definite that I'm going to have this one. Isla, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sold on this one being mine. 70%. This is my closest Carolyn Manning finish that I have. And I'm doing this on a 20 count Aida. See, I really love the 20 count Aida. This is the particular piece that I worked on in the last couple of weeks, but I only put in 115 stitches. So I'm thinking this one might be Isla's, this one. She's often expressed that she likes this one. The other 2 are a little, they changed their minds. Yeah, I really love them. I've actually subbed in a few anchor threads into this one, so it's not strictly like the mock-up. And I really liked the 4 pieces because I had these scraps of 20 count that worked out well. In fact, what I probably could have done, now that you look at my borders, I probably could have got 2 on the one, but you know, live and learn. Okay, so you'll continue to see this one until it's finished. My aim, I'm really hoping that I have it done in time for Christmas, but I refuse to not stitch it as my travel piece. So we'll see, because often that can be quite sporadic progress. A lot of it hinges on how many times I go into the office and what else is going on, like school holidays at the moment, for example. So I'm not really going into the office. There's not a lot of like waiting around at dancing or basketball trainings or those types of things. So it's kind of stunted a little bit in its progress, but I've only got 30% left, and I'm finding that I'm getting much quicker with it because I kind of like, I've already stitched a good half of it, so it's just, you know, repeating that same one on each of them. And the exciting part is I can see my skeins of thread getting smaller and smaller, so I know I'm closing in. The next one I have to show you is actually another Carolyn Manning, and this is one I'm stitching with Angie Slowly Crafts. You can find her here on Flosstube and Instagram. I highly recommend. She's got some amazing pieces. This is Glow Up. Oh, now I'm not stitching this as 4 separate pieces. This is on the one, but this is only 12,000 stitches. And Angie and I are pretty keen to finish it this year. I know we can do it. I know we can. So I've pulled it out and I'm on it, Angie. I know that you've been working on yours as well. I'm at 24.32%, and I actually put in 405 stitches. This is another 20 count, and let's get to where we're at. 20 count, Ada, 2 over 2, no, 2 over 1, that's where we're at. Ooh, I really like it. It's so bright and colourful. I'm trying to actually, sorry guys, I'm thinking this might be my thumbnail for this video. So just trying to get a couple of options. But look at that. It's so, I find this one to be kind of really neat and tidy because it's got some block stitching, and I find I can get nice neat stitches going on Ada. It's got a border that's a little bit different to most CMs. It's got an alternating coloured border in the centre there with white, black on either side of it. Can't see a lot of the white at the moment. I think we're going to have to wait until it's fully stitched for that to shine through. But yeah, almost 0.25%. How exciting. Let's go, Angie. Let's go. Okay, next one is designed by Kaylee. This is Towards Truth. I love her. Oop. And Kaylee really kindly removed the background for me. So I've gone with a grey gum opalescent fabric. It's a 28 count. Stitching it 1 over 1. Pretty sparkly. But it kind of gives the appearance of, now that's my no background. Let me show you so that's what it looks like with the background, right? That was meant to be stitched, but I chose not to stitch all that grey. So I've taken that out, replaced it with the grey fabric. So I'm hoping it sort of comes out with some, because the fabric is a bit mottled, with sort of the cloudy look in the background. And I've sort of got the moth going on, and I've started on this pink flower. I have put in 298 stitches, but I'm only at, where am I at? 2.13%, which could be a little bit better. But hopefully, I'm finding that this grey doesn't often come up very well on the camera, and neither does the opalescent sparkle. But, oh, it's also got a e-toil thread in it, which is that purple line. So it's got extra sparkle. That's where I'm at. But you can see, oh yeah, the light's pretty good. You can see what I mean by the fabric. So it is grey. I mean, I'm wearing a grey jumper. It's not as dark. But you can see the mottled going on. I think we're going to have to bring this in because I've got a lot of pale stitches already on here. So you can see there. Going up a bit of a nose definition, starting the pink flower that I referred to, and the moth, which is really, really littered with confetti, which looks incredible up close. So yeah, I'm having fun with that. But yeah, on camera I'm still finding that what is this piece? We need some definition going on, that's for sure. So you can find that over in the sewing shop, CA. Kaylee's got a heap of wonderful charts. I've got a few of hers on the go. The threads for this is just beautiful. Look at those colors. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. All right, next one is a bit of an old time fave that I really want to get finished. It's Dragonfly, another Carolyn Manning. Look at the colors, it reminds me of a kaleidoscope. I'm over 50%. This is from the Shooting Star collection, and it was my very first Carolyn Manning design that I started. So I'm actually on a 14 count. I'm stitching it 2 over 2. The coverage still looks great. Whatever you think about 14 count, I've got heaps of pieces on 14, and I still really enjoy it. I often hear people think that the coverage might be a little sparse or doesn't quite look right. I've also got a few that I'm doing 3 strands on 14 in some of the kits. That's pretty cool coverage as well. It gives it more like a tapestry appearance, so it's whatever your jam is. So that's Dragonfly, and yeah, as I said, I'm really pleased that I've hit the 50% mark, but I mean, they're not small, they're 35,000, I think. I've still got, I think, well over 10,000 stitches to do on it. So let's have a look at that one. Just get back to where okay, so 14 count, 2 over 1, and this is where we are at. So I finished the bottom corner, the bottom left corner, and then I got a little carried away with thinking I am going to fill in every single diamond, and then fill in the triangles around it. So I'm just sort of trying to figure out, I'm pretty sure I've got here, that's about the point. Yeah, that is the top. Okay, so that's the top up there, and I'm pretty sure I've hit the, oh, maybe there's one more over here, but we've pretty much got the full borders going on. And it is gorgeous. Would you believe I don't have any color completes on this yet? I find that a bit hard to believe. Shouldn't be too far off though. There's quite a few diamonds in the outline diamonds that I will complete once they're complete. I think there's maybe 4 or 5. But I do love seeing those zeros come up on PK. Oh, don't have my 3 cards for that. Okay, this one was, okay. We are into the East Start Fest. I started 8 pieces. Me and a few others, like I mentioned, went a little, well, basically we just said start everything that you want and can and put in 200 stitches. So I got 8. Nancy got a few more. It was so much fun. Thanks. Thank you. And this was the very first out of the 8 that I started. This is Granny Is No Square by Carolyn Manning. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is the second last Carolyn Manning I have left to show you. I went for a pale pink Ada for this, and I made a center start on that particular diamond there. Would you look at those colors? Oh, that's so delicious. I did my 200, and so, did I say the count? 18 count. 18 count light pink Ada. And just take back to where it should be. No, not that one. I've got them all the new starts here in a pile. So that way up in the center. The first 200 are in. I got this Ada, for any of you who are in Australia, I got this Ada from Lincraft. And if you are lucky enough, depending on your store, I've only found this in two stores, the City store and the Epping store. They've got Ada on the bolt, 18 count. And I found this piece, which, so it, you know, it was only 50 centimeters. So I said, can I have a discount for the remnant, please? And so she gave me 40% off. So I picked up this piece of Ada off the bolt at Lincraft. You can do that if Spotlight do it too. If there's just a little left on the bolt, ask for a discount, because all they're going to do is bag it and discount it at some stage anyway, in my experience. So that's where we're at. Granny Is No Square. I'm pretty pleased with myself. I've got all my thread cards and everything that I started is in some kind of order, albeit very little progress. All right, the next one. Now, this has been a long time coming, this one. Sorry, this is by, I don't know if it's Nini Thomas. Beautiful artwork that she translates herself into cross stitch. So many selections on hers. A few different companies have done a take on this Queen of Silk chart, but I purchased mine from the original artist. Okay, so this is Queen of Silk. Now you can see the detail going on here. Look at her. Look at those blossoms, the dress. I mean, just gorgeous, right? Massive. So I was talking to Kaylee. I said, geez, it would be awesome to kind of not stitch the tree, the trunks, the green kind of background, but still stitch the foliage. And so she did something incredible. And she went and dyed me a piece of fabric to try and accomplish just that. And so I had to really think about the placement of the start of this piece, taking into consideration what I'm hoping to achieve, and that is not stitching the tree or the green background, because it's all about ditch the background, right? There's a sale for that too on Instagram, of which I'm a participant for a couple of different WIPs. Okay, so let me show you the fabric so you understand what I'm talking about. It is a gorgeous piece of 25 count linen. And look at what she was able to do. I mean, come on. That is just sheer talent right there. And, you know, she can clearly see the vision that I have. Now, can you see the start that I made? That's the question next. So I went with starting here. And that is the dragon's tail and the start of her dress, okay? So I've tried to anchor. Let's pull the chart back up so that we can kind of understand what I'm getting here, what I'm getting at. You'll kind of figure it out. So I've started with the tail, right? And tried to offset that branch and bring her dress in so that ultimately her head should be sitting in a position. I think it's more important to center her and then work the foliage in, right? That's what I'm going for. And I think it's gonna work. I really do. I think we can get this going on. She's given me a really generous amount of fabric as well. So I think I have actually re-centered it somewhat from the chart because I had a few inches to play with on either side. Thanks, Kaylee. Like, I am so excited for this one. It took me a while to get cracking because I was a little bit frightened of where I might start. You know, you don't want to put in tens and tens of thousands of stitches and hours and love and all of that only to not have it work out the way you want. So after much deliberation, Queen of Silk has arrived. Oh goodness. You know, when you're just like, you're filming and then there's like random stitchy stuff. Don't know where it belongs. I'll figure it out. All right. Where are we at? 37 minutes. And where am I at here on my list? Okay. We're more than halfway. Stick with me. We're getting there. Next up I have, okay, this chart is awesome. It's by a new designer that I hadn't really come across on Etsy, Circus Stitches. I love the movie Up, you know, the kids movie Up. Well, check out that piece. Oh, that is just all the stitchy fun right there. You've got the black outline, you've got the block colors, you've got all the colors. I haven't actually decided whether I'm going to stitch the writing. Adventure is out there. I'm thinking I might do everything but the words and see how I like it. Because to me, this screams Up without the need for the reference to the words, but we'll see. So I went for a center start. I'm also, so I showed you in my last video that I had started Death by Cross Stitch by Long Dog Samplers, and Nancy did too. We were going to use our, you know, a lot of stitches have it. Those big tubs of threads that you just kind of collect over the years, the decades, throw in off bits from kits and secondhand, you know, accumulations of bits and pieces, and just kind of collect a whole stack of threads that you're really not too sure what you're doing with. So we started Death by Cross Stitch, and then we thought that this balloon piece would be ideal for that as well. And now I have just actually realized that I don't have the balloon piece here with me. In fact, it could possibly, don't worry, I got it. I actually use these drawers to store a lot of my stitching, so that worked out well. Okay, I do have it. I went with, okay, I also showed you on my last video that I had started my foray into 2/2 on linen. I'm having a lot of fun. So I had this piece of pale blue Belfast 32 count linen that Dylan got for me, thank you, as a gift. As a gift recently when I needed a replacement of another fabric that I mucked up on. This came as a surprise, so thank you. And I'm kind of going for like the sky effect, okay? So the balloons are already in the sky, they're up, they're out there, the house is trailing down the bottom. And I think I'm loving the color. I'm really needing to concentrate still on this 2/2. I don't know how you all do it so simply. I know it's only 16 count, but my brain is so wired into stitching 1/1 that I find this 2/2, like, I have to concentrate. But yeah, look, so I've got like 3 balloons. And so we're just picking scraps from that random tub and throwing it in for the different colored balloons. I'm going to still try and stick to the chart colors and just kind of like pick and mix, and because my tub is just loaded with like all of the colors of the rainbow. So just pulling it out. So much fun. So yeah, I'm actually, I can't describe to you how I don't know why I waited so long to stitch 2/2 on linen, but here I am. I'm finally joining the party. I've got pieces on linen, but I stitched them 1/1. So this is 32 count, which is the highest actually that I've ever stitched on. So that equates to a 16 count. I think I've got to go 40, right? Because I really like 20 count. Oh, the choices are endless. That's what I love about this craft. There's just so many choices, you know. I think when people first start, they think those little kits on 14 count. Oh, if only they knew, right? Okay. Okay, so I've got some paper charts that I did work on. And this is part of my, okay, so where are we up to? This will be my 4th start from the Easter Start Fest. And just got to figure out which one is which. So this is, oh goodness, I did not bring the actual, where did that go? That is so strange. I don't know where the actual front of the kit is. Okay, that's interesting. I'll have to insert pictures for these then. That is my hot air balloons chart. It's a Dimensions Gold kit, and I am starting it in the center. It's on a, now I started 2. I think they're both on 18 count ivory Ada. We'll go with that. That's where I'm at. And I got that first balloon kind of in. Now, let's talk about this Dimensions kit. We got 1 strand, 2 strands, 3 strands, 4 strands, and 5 strand blend combinations, dimensions. I get it. You're called dimensions, but wowee. Every single time I thread my needle, I've got to do like a, okay, so I need these colors, and then doing the, you know, on the color chart. So it's slow going, but I mean, you know, we all know that the finished product of these is just incredible. So that hot air balloon is pretty much all blends already, half stitches. In fact, I haven't done a full cross yet on this, but I'm having so much fun, and that's what's important. And it's going to look incredible. And actually I have the threads, so I don't have the front, but I've got the threads. So let's look at the delicious colors that is this chart. Oh, just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. 200 stitches, because I remember I put in 200 stitches for each of these new starts. Okay, so while we're going, this was the next one, and this is Cozy Cove. Again, Dimensions Gold kit. We're going with the 18 count ivory Ada. I'm using it all called for. I generally do in kits, unless I'm not happy with the fabric, I might swap that out, but I generally use the threads. Now this is a really kind of long rectangle piece actually, and I went for a center start, so I'm working on those little cows, and this is where I got to on here. Actually, I worked on hot air balloons twice, so I put in 400 stitches. This one only got 200. You can see the difference. And this is not, I don't think this one is intense with all its blends and thread combos, but you know, it's still a Dimensions Gold. So that's all half stitches there. Really, they really like half stitches. And you can see the size of it, 18 count, not that big. So I'm going with, actually, let's look at the threads for that too, because they are also gorgeous. All the colors of the rainbow again, just the way I like it. Okay. In fact, I've never had a Dimensions kit that's been so big that I've then had to have the extra little additions that aren't on the thread cards, so that they've both got those actually. Oh, and I've done it again. There's my threads from balloon that I was using. Right there. Okay, so we are down to 6 left. I'm doing pretty good time. We're back to the, yes, we are back to my tablet, and we have another new start, which was, okay, final Carolyn Manning piece that I'm going to show you. And this is one that she showed on her Facebook page. It's from 2018, and she popped it back on her website. And I was like, hells yes, I need that piece. So here it is, Flower Crazy. I went for a center start. So I've stitched a little bit of the yellow in there. This bit in here. How cool is this chart? I really like it. It's not that big. Stitch count is only, let's have a look, 31,000. And I actually am putting it on more of that 18 count light pink 8 I was speaking of from Lincraft. And that is where I'm at. So just the standard 200 stitches. But I'm having a lot of fun with it. Okay, I don't think I should start any more Carolyn Mannings for a little bit. I need to finish. I've got Dragonfly, I've got Unicorn, Glow Up. There's 3 potential finishes right there. So yeah, let's just keep chipping away at them. There's a Manning Monday sale on Instagram that's really fun. Oh, I just love looking at everybody's Carolyn Manning progress. There's just something about the way she plays with colour. Okay, so my daughter Willow, she turned 13 since I last saw you, I think. Did she? No, I think she was turning 13 the day after I actually recorded last. So we had a really nice day doing some things that she wanted to do. And she expressed an interest in a cross-stitch chart, which doesn't often happen. So, of course, I went along and bought it straight away because I'm like, well, what a great opportunity for another new start if she wants it. It's a light unicorn design chart from Etsy. I've already got another one of theirs, so this is my second. It's rather small. For some reason, when these charts come through on PK, I've noticed that they have the background, but I don't think it's intended that the background be stitched. So once you remove that, the stitch count for this is only about 7,000 stitches. How pretty is that? I love the watercolor appearance. And what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I might actually stitch the white in the center of the label, and then I'm thinking put maybe a bit of sparkle in there too, and I'm going to backstitch in maybe Chanel or something like that, something in that square anyway. So I've actually worked on this a couple of times already, and I'm already at, well, I'm at 1.35%, but that's because I haven't deleted the background, which is like 21,000 or something. So probably already a couple of percent in, and I put 393 stitches in, and I went for a 25 count Lagana. So it's going to be dainty and pretty, and it's this way, and that's where I'm at already. So you can already see the shape of that label in the center of the bottle appearing. And then we're headed up to the top of the bottle. So I'm really enjoying that, and you know, great way to use scraps. I mean, I know I purchased the 20 count, but that's only because I'd used up all my scraps. I'm not a huge fan of buying a lot of things. I really like making sure that I use everything that I can, and I'm a big fan of secondhand purchases in this community, because you know, our environment just doesn't need all of this stuff that's gonna just be dumped somewhere. Well, I like to think that my pieces are not going to be dumped anywhere. I'm already like talking to Dylan now. When I die, I think we need to have a plan for what happens to my WIPs. I know we probably all have those thoughts, but they're real, right? They're real. Next I have Barbie. Now, okay, so this piece, I've already started a piece because I'm stitching them separately, similar to my unicorn chart. So this is what the actual chart looks like. So I have already made a pretty solid start on this one here. Then the girls all selected their own, right? So Willow's gone for this one, Isla's gone for this one, and Fleur this one. So I then recently, in the Easter Start Fest, made a start on this one. And I'm stitching them all on 14 count Aida, 2/1, because ultimately I'd like to finish them on a tote bag for each of us. So here is my start on Fleur's. 200 stitches again, but look, every stitch counts, and there we have it. These Aida pieces I actually picked up real cheap in an op shop. I think they were like $1 or so. So I've got enough of them to do the 4 for each of us. So I think once you break down the stitch count, I think they work out to be just under 10,000 stitches each. So really quite reasonable to knock off and finish on a tote. So we can proudly walk around and show off mum stitching. No, not really, just because I think it looks fantastic. Okay, hot air balloons I have next. We've done that. I've actually already shown you that. So I'm down to 2. All right, I am cruising on time. So I have started this one for Dylan. He actually selected it. It's from an Etsy store. I'm not stitching that white. Obviously, I'm on a white Aida, 14 count, and he wants this on a tote. So we've got the Barbies each, and he wants this one on a tote bag. It's small. The stitch count is only 6,000 or so. I would like to share with you though who, oh, that's right. I need to track it down because on the actual chart, they don't have the name of the company or the business, but I know they're an Etsy store, and I have tracked them down and linked them in my Instagram as well. But it's a smallish piece, and I have put in, what have I done? 197 stitches. We're at 14.31% finished, and that's where I'm at. So you can see the start of that first, do I have that the right way up? Yes. You can see the start of that first lotus coming in. This will come around like that. So the 14 count looks great, I reckon, with the 2 threads for that sort of bigger finish. Gee, Dylan, they're starting to look really good actually. I'm pleased. This is one that I kind of only put in 50 to 100 stitches each time I work on it as well, and just chip away at it. The thread colors are really pretty on that. All right, lucky last. No, not lucky last. Got 2 more to show you. Okay, so I also worked on, now, yeah, I do have this. Hang on a second, here we go. My Olga Gostin Australian Heritage Architecture by DMC. So there's a collection of these, of which I have, this is not the full collection, but I think I have 8 of them. And in fact, Nancy and I are going to start this one pretty soon is the plan. So that's the historical Queenslander. This one is Queen Anne though, which reminds me of a house that you might find in Kew or the eastern suburbs around Melbourne. So I worked on this a little bit, and I actually started this with my good friend Barb from Stitch Brat for a sell, historical houses sell over on Instagram. I had a look at that sale, the hashtag recently. It looks spectacular. There are so many houses being constructed out of cross stitch and in all the colors and designs and architecture. Thanks everyone. I am loving it, which is why I think I need to start another one to continue this hashtag on for as long as possible, which won't be a problem because, as I said, I've got like 8 kits or something. Okay, so, historical houses. I've been a little bit upbeat today, I've noticed, in terms of getting easily sidetracked with other stitchy stories, but here we go. So 20 count. I actually kitted this one myself because I didn't have the kit. I've got the kit for most of them. This one was just the chart though. So I kitted it myself, 20 count Ada. There's quite a lot of colors in these. Like, we've got all of these and they're actually beautiful colors. 20 count Ada, and so this is where I am at. Whoops. Look at that taking shape. That looks really cool. Let's come in, have a look. So I have been working on this bit here, the flowers, and a little bit of the fence starting to come in. That fence is actually really cool, and a lot of half stitches up there for the sky. Yeah, nice one. Barb recently posted hers too, and she's making some great progress as well. You can find her actually here on Flosstube and Instagram. I mentioned quite a few people today, so I'll link them down the bottom if you're interested in checking any of them out, and I highly recommend them all. Lucky last, this is the Heaven and Earth design that I am stitching for my mum. She selected it. She chose a big one. I mean, I don't think at the time she realized how big it was. Now that I'm stitching it, she's like, wow, maybe I might have chosen a smaller one had I known how big it was. But she loves the image, and so I'm just going to keep stitching and see what happens. It's called Arrival of, is it Arrival of Spring? The Arrival of Spring, which is quite suitable for most of you over there on the other side of the world, but for us here it's the Arrival of Autumn. She's beautiful. Look at that. I'm on a bit of a mission at the moment to come down to this bird, and I'm also making my way over to these flowers. We'll see how far along we get, but I have recently crossed the 10,000k stitch mark on this one, and I've managed 666 stitches, and I'm at 3.95%, Mum, if you're watching. So I'm actually enjoying this. It's a 28 count 1/1 loop garner, and I'm getting to the point, as I just sort of showed you, where I can put the hoop in a variety of different places and stitch what I choose now, which is how I really like to operate with my big pieces. So there she is. Oh, she's looking good. You can see her ear, her nose, her mouth, the shadow of her neck, chin. Yeah, that looks great. I am pretty pleased with that so far. Lovely. And so that bird is literally about to take shape just here, and sort of gradually moving out here away from her ear is where those flowers in her hair will commence. So yeah, she's looking fantastic. I do like to park my threads, which you can see. Maybe I'll use this as a thumbnail. I've taken a few opportunities because I was pretty pleased with my Dragonfly Carol and Main piece as well. But there you have it. That's all of what I've been working on since I saw you 2 weeks ago. I have been having a great time playing a lot of Facebook Stitchy games still. And I think that's contributing to my progress at the moment. They're all team-based events. And I'm finding I'm really enjoying that style of gameplay. Contributing to a team, working together, you know, all that stuff. It's good fun. What else has been happening? I mentioned that Willow, she turned 13. It's school holidays here at the moment. We're halfway through. And next week is a really big week at work. So I think it's going to be one of those long weeks where I try and squeeze in a few things with the girls and slob away at work. Yeah, I mean, it's coming into winter, so we don't have a lot of plans. My girls are actually going to Japan in May with their dad. So that will be an interesting time. I think that's going to be the longest time that they've been away from me. We'll see how we go. Dylan and I might plan something nice. What else has been going on? Working, just working, mumming. Yeah, stitching away. I've got 64 WIPs now. When I started Flosstube, I was actually going through, because I have this notebook where I kind of keep a record of each Flosstube, and if I go back to the first Flosstube that I filmed, this one being number 19, I think I only had 27 WIPs. So that's pretty clear that this community is really enabling and inspiring and just fabulous, basically. You're all fabulous. This whole, hobby of ours is, it's something I'm really enjoying the further I get in. And there's still, as I sort of mentioned earlier, there's still so many different things to experiment with and try. One last thing I want to show you actually is I did get this kit. So I bought this kit off eBay. It's a Nova Sloboda. I'm not sure if that's the correct pronunciation. Let's take it out of the plastic. So that's what it looks like. I actually showed it to my friend Barb. I only got it yesterday. This was one of the stitchy parcels that I got yesterday, and she is in love with it. So I would be totally down for a sour Barb if you manage to get your hands on one. I'm not too sure how old it is. As I said, I bought it on eBay. But interestingly, I was saying to Barb that the threads are not like anything I've sort of seen before. So it'll be interesting to kind of work with these. They don't look like, well, they're certainly individual threads. They're not 6 strand that you need to separate. So that'll be fun. And then the lovely lady that I actually bought it from was kind enough, and her name is Elizabeth. Thank you, Elizabeth. Was kind enough to also give me a little gift, which is my very first Mill Hill kit. And it's a little counted glass bead ornament kit called Spring Bouquet. So that's pretty cool. I think I actually mentioned last week, I've never done beading. Not in this style anyway. I used to dance. So I'm all across the seed beads with sequining on costumes, but I've never done beading like in this hobby form. So thank you, Elizabeth. That is such a kind little extra after getting this amazing kit to begin with. So I am going to leave you all there. I'm just over the hour. I've really enjoyed myself having this impromptu filming. I hope I wasn't too far all over the place because my structure was not as planned as usual, but sometimes that can be more fun, right? So thank you for sticking with me if you're still here. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I know that Australia is quite a long, kind of kicks off the weekend, if you like, and the rest of the world bring it in. So I know some of you are just sort of getting started. Enjoy, and I hope you get some stitching in. Take care. I'll see you all soon, or stop by on Instagram or TikTok. Happy stitching, everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye.